This meeting is being held on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis. We extend our gratitude to those who came before us and have called this ancestral land home for generations. We respect and honor the treaties, reaffirm our relationships with one another, and move forward together in the spirit of truth, reconciliation, and collaboration. We'll call to order at 7 p.m. That the agenda for September 23rd, 2024 meeting be approved as amended or presented and attached to form part of the said minutes. Councillor Vic. Everybody's had a chance to go over the agenda. Any errors or omissions or anything you'd like to add? Okay. All those in favor? Next up, declaration of conflict of interest.
I got it.
Okay, which one?
9.2.4 and 14.2.
If for some reason you come across one that you are unsure of it when we get to it, definitely let us know.
No conflict. Just in the hall.
Alright, that the minutes of the September 9th, 2024 regular meeting of council be approved as presented. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Any questions, comments? All those in favor? That's carried. That the RCMP report for the month of August 2024 be received and filed. Councillor Stewart. So, see they weren't able to make it tonight. Everybody took a minute and went through it. Do we have any questions that we want to forward on to them after the meeting? Okay.
They'll probably come to the next meeting.
Yeah. Alright, all those in favor? That's carried. Alright.
On that, did you get to meet the staff sergeant? Did you hear anything from him?
Yes, I did have a meeting, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Had a meeting here last week,
Okay.
Michelle. So, now we're gonna move on to our delegations, so just wanna let you know, we're gonna give you each, 5 to 10 minutes to have a chat and introduce yourselves. So first up, I will call on, Shauna Stanley Seymour.
Do you want me to sit here or?
Yeah, there's fine.
Okay, it's up to you guys. Okay, good evening, Mayor Zacharias, councillors, administration, guests. My name is Shauna Stanley Seymour, and I am your Saskatchewan United candidate for Carrot River Valley. I'm here to let you know a little bit about me and about our party. First up, I want to thank each of you, Mayor and Council, for your service. The roles you fill are what I call the most thankless volunteer jobs that there are. As we all know what you do, the hours that it takes far exceeds any per diems you might receive. My husband was a councillor at one time, so I do understand and respect your commitment to your community. I was raised north of Tisdale on the farm my great-grandfather homesteaded in 1904. My husband and I now farm there as the fourth generation to do so. As with many, I too spent years away. Most of that time was spent in Regina, where I traveled in political circles for both work and fun. Government was often a client during my career in market research, which is polling and focus groups, but it was never our mainstay. Most of our clients were in the credit union and private sector, where I helped them develop strategies and products to better serve their customers. It was during those years that I learned to set my biases aside and truly learn how to listen and hear what people were saying. I could disagree with many, but ultimately my job was to clearly convey the messages I was given, whether I liked them or not. The job of an MLA is very similar. Ask questions, listen, hear, learn, understand. Then advocate for those who took the time to convey their concerns, questions, frustrations, or ideas. Sask United is not about protest. Sask United formed because of the disconnect. We all feel it. Nothing seems to make sense anymore. Whether we can't get an MLA to answer questions or we can't understand why so much of our lives no longer make sense, everything has simply become harder. Harder for you as counselors, harder for your ratepayers, just harder. As John Romick, our leader, says, the Sask Party has been in power for 17 years, and look at our services after 17 years. It doesn't matter whether it's healthcare, education, roads, things that are 100% within the provincial purview. They are all in crisis. Bureaucracy has grown, taxes are higher. The Sask Party government has signed us onto this net zero by 2050 agenda, which commits unending dollars to expensive green technologies which will never keep us warm in the winter, let alone keep the lights on. And it increases the cost of everything with no real return. You guys have to pass those costs along, yet you know how much that hurts your community. When you really sit back and think about it, it is increasingly difficult to see the difference between the Sask Party and the NDP, especially as both continue to rehash the same campaign talking points most of us have been hearing our entire adult lives. And that is why I and others are saying enough. This path we are on is not sustainable, and if the Sask Party and NDP choose to stay on it, so be it. Sask United is offering a positive and realistic alternative. Sask United is the only true conservative option. This will mean lowering taxes, cutting the PST in half to 3%, axing the 15-cent per litre gas tax completely, and providing those over 65 a 65% discount on their property taxes of their primary residence. You as councils will be reimbursed by the province for that share, and in so doing, hopefully your seniors will elect to stay in your community, contributing as they always have done. Our healthcare system is a prepaid service which you pay with your taxes. It needs to be there when you need it. While the others bicker over who spends more, we are committed to providing the best healthcare in the world through the power of innovation, accountability, and individual choice. A Sask United government will declare war on crime by focusing on both suppressing the supply of drugs and offering effective, person-centered recovery programs. We can create a safer environment for our families and our communities. Now, of course, there's a lot more, and you can find it all at saskunited.ca or on Facebook by typing in Sask United Carrot River Valley. But my pledge to you as councillors is this. I am an advocate. That is who I am. In my previous career, as I mentioned, I truly learned the value of listening and learning. And if I'm elected your MLA, my office will be calling you. I want to schedule an annual, at minimum, day within your community. During this day, I will meet with you and other nearby councils, your community, and any other community partners. This could be volunteer leaders, business leaders, faith leaders, or whoever else you believe should be part of those discussions. One day, lots of conversation, lots of talking about what you are proud of, where the pinch points are, as well as the solutions and ideas you believe should be escalated to the provincial table. There is only one taxpayer. You know this. Even with provincial or federal funding, you recognize that it's still the same pockets you must pull from. And it is time to truly work together. There is no higher government that knows better than you what your community needs and wants. I intend to respect that. It is my goal to work with you. That is the job. I'm committed to being your microphone and not simply a messenger of all things from above. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your attention. And most of all, I thank you again for stepping up and taking on the roles you have. If you would like to learn more, our leader John Raumick and I are hosting a supper in Town Hall in Tisdale this Friday, and I will leave contact information with your administrator. So unless there are some questions, I will respectfully bid you good night, as I have a few other appointments in town this evening, and I will get going to them. So, thank you. Who can I drop the information? I had it all ready. There it is. There you go. Lots for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shauna.
You're welcome.
Are
Thank you.
there any quick questions all from council? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for coming. And, next on our list is, Thea Stewart.
Hello, everyone. Dear Mayor and Council members, Nipwood Nutrition for Kids is a community-based organization working towards healthy living and nutrition for children in Nipwood and area. NNFK provides a breakfast program at our two elementary schools, Wagner School and Central Park Elementary School. To assist in funding the breakfast program, our organization accesses grant funding from the Ministry of Education. However, the high food costs related to this breakfast program for our hungry children needs to be supported in other ways. For the past 17 years, NNFK has organized a very successful community campaign called Feed a Kid. We involve the Chamber of Commerce, local businesses, and other service groups. Each year, money is raised by our community to support the breakfast program for hungry children in Nipwood. We are requesting that Council declare the month of October Feed a Kid Month in our community to help raise awareness of child hunger. We thank you for your support of this worthy fundraiser. Yours and Health for Children, Nipwood Nutrition for Kids board members. I also know that you guys like numbers and to know how many children we fed last year. So last year, the 2023-2024 school year, Central Park, which is our little ones, we served 3,523 breakfasts, and at Wagner we served 3,782 breakfasts for a total of 7,305 breakfasts for our children. I know last year when I came to speak with you, I had mentioned that our older kids were eating more, and that hasn't gone away. They are still eating all 4 items that they take for their grab-and-go breakfasts in the mornings. So that tells us that the families are still struggling to have enough food at home to make sure that the kids are as well fed as they should be. So, if you guys have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions, Bill? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, see you later.
You're not gonna stay?
No.
You're all born to do it.
Just to be sure, it doesn't appear that our third delegation is here. Andy froze. I'm not missing him in my sight, so, alright, we're going to continue on. That the financial report for September 23rd, 2024 be received as presented. Consider cited. Maria, do you have anything you'd like to highlight, or? Okay, any questions or comments on this report? Jeff?
Just in regards to the Baker Tilly bill for $7,003, is that just for a month, or is that for quite a bit of months, and how much are we still using?
Well, we aren't using them much at all anymore. I think I've called them maybe twice in the last 3 months. I do believe that Baker Tilly's bill was the last quarter, wasn't it?
Last report,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, I just am trying to bring it up now. I've been gone for 2 weeks, so my head's
Oh,
not
welcome
thinking
back.
again. Thank you.
We missed you. It also says legal services.
Yeah, I don't know that I saw this invoice. Do you know
That's
anything
where the
about it?
lots for them.
Okay.
They do our legal? Thought they were
But we
accounting.
will confirm that then, actually, I'm not council, no.
So you made a note of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sheldon?
I know I've asked this before, but I still can't wrap my head around SaskTel for $22,622. Is that the ongoing bill we're gonna get per month from them?
No, so that also, was a final billing for another, part of the program that we did with them. And again, I'm relying on my memo from a couple weeks ago. But that was part of our capital expense for them for the project of the, cloud service. Yeah.
So it should be substantially less next
Oh
month.
yes, this will not be a monthly billing, this
Okay.
was like a capital expense that they
Okay.
billed out to us for the cloud
I
expense.
know in the detailed report it said 15,000 and some change for,
12,665
Yes.
for the cloud server.
okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't broken down, it just had,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why I was
That's
asking.
correct, that is right.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions on this report? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That the CAO report be received and filed. Sounds good. All those in favor? Oh, I guess we gotta, sorry. Oh, Michelle did a report, well.
That's okay,
Yeah.
it's pretty, self-explanatory, our nominations are now open for the election, and they're open until Wednesday, October 9th. And, the departments are well into wrapping up summer work and getting prepared for fall, and things are well on their way there. We had the community connections evening, which the consultants that are working on our official community plan were quite happy with the feedback that they received from the attendees. And the last item is the heliport is nearly completed. It's online to be completed by the end of October, and we still need to raise some additional funds. We're about 75% there, but we still have a little bit to raise yet. But the project itself is well underway. It's nearly completed. I see they put the South Tower lights up just last couple of days.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. Do we have any questions or comments for Michelle? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That the Community Services Department monthly report be received and filed. Counselor Sickley. Derek?
I don't really have much to add. I guess the two highlights would be there's about $4,000 extra received in grant funding from the last 2 years with the transportation access grant for the paratransit, and an extra $2,000 for Canada Summer Jobs over last year.
Extra money's always good. Do you have any questions or comments for Derek? Okay, all those in favor? Planning Department monthly report be received and filed. Counselor Stewart. And we'll pass this off to Jeff.
Thanks. Nothing really major to add to the report. Just that the Tyndall Avenue subdivision has been completed in the sense that it's now with legal, so hopefully it will be finished shortly here. And then the subdivision at the bulk water station has been completed with the surveyor, and it's also at legal now. So both those are well underway.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions or comments for Jeff? Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. That council hereby rescinds resolution number 2024-443 from the September 9th, 2024 meeting of council, and that application be made to the local government committee for permission to borrow an amount of up to $2 million in 2024, repayable over a period of 10 years for the purposes of the decommissioning project at the waste diversion site and the completion of the Evergreen Drive water and sewer loop, and that the amount of the said debt shall be payable in 10 installments in years 2025 to 2034 inclusive, with interest at a rate of 4.79% per annum, payable at least annually. Counselor Seifert. Michelle.
So at the last council meeting, council approved submitting an application to the Saskatchewan Municipal Board for 3 projects for the Evergreen Water and Sewer Loop and the decommissioning project and the water sewer trunk extension on the south end of town. SMB have advised that their approval would be conditional on having all application or all permits in place. And since that time, we've been advised that when the engineering firm completed the Heritage Resource Review, the area was flagged as sensitive and it requires additional screening. So we're not positive that the south end of town one will be completed in the near future, but they're very confident the one on Evergreen Drive will be, because it's in a road, there's already infrastructure there, so they're confident that one will be fine. And there's also permits required from CP Rail to cross the rail line, and we're not positive that those are still going to come in time. So we're recommending that we split the funding application into 2 parts and do the landfill decommissioning project on the Evergreen Water and Sewer Loop with this loan, and then at the time when we are guaranteed the permits are in place for the other project, then we would bring that to council for approval.
Thank you, Michelle. Do we have any questions or comments? Jeff?
Same thing I asked last time.
The borrowing?
The borrowing.
Okay, we spoke with Dynamite Union, and we can buy that loan out at any time. We can pay it off without penalty. So we could pay it off and borrow again for the remainder, or there is an option that we would renegotiate, and there would be a 3-month penalty on the interest. So we can renegotiate it. We could pay it off in 5 years and then re-borrow it at a lower rate.
No penalty for paying it off early.
Right.
3-month penalty if you wanna renegotiate the
Right.
interest rate.
And the Bank of Montreal is amortized as over whatever period we choose, so we would renegotiate at the end of the amortization period, 1, 3, 5 years. So we can renegotiate at 5 years.
With the Bank of Montreal.
With both of,
With
well,
both.
yes, the year we could buy it out and then finance it.
That's how you do it, without getting a 3-month penalty.
Right, yeah. So,
The interest rates are favorable.
Okay.
Then,
Yep.
yeah, we have one out at 5 years and we that's what I want to do.
yep, we looked into that and that's what we found.
Derek?
They answered themselves.
Okay. Any
the evergreen are lower than what we budgeted on, but this allows us to borrow up to what we were intended.
Any other questions or comments? Jeff?
Do we have an idea when the south one will be ready to go? Because we are having to plan on increasing our infrastructure fee on the water at, when is it?
Well, the first one
already
happened.
happened, and that
The
could be
next,
for
the
this.
next one I think is January one.
Yeah, and if we don't actually need that, then maybe we can hold off on that, is the other option.
We could, they didn't,
It gives
with
time.
CP Rail, it's,
I understand. I'm just saying, this could be 2 or 3 years down the line of a delay.
the engineers are confident that it will be within months versus
Oh,
years.
that's fine, okay.
6 to 8 weeks is what they figured.
Just not quite quick enough to
Yeah.
get in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
you're out of my brain, I'm thinking 2 years.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that increase is gonna cover those other 2 million anyways.
No.
I think we need it regardless.
Well, we were using it as a way to fund the loan.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. The council hereby awards Clearwater Equipment and Technologies to supply and assist with installation of the water treatment plant RO membranes for the quoted amount of $73,856 plus GST, with funds to come from GL account WTP Capital number 471812820, and that council waive the provisions within the procurement policy regarding tendering, as only 3 companies in Saskatchewan sell the Dow Film Tech larger commercial elements membranes in Saskatchewan. Councillor Stewart. And this would fall to Jamie, he's not in attendance. Is there anything?
I can answer questions, council has it, it's pretty clear, our supervisor of utilities, he contacted his people and confirmed once again that those are the only companies that do supply those large membranes.
Yeah.
And they've tested the different types, and this is definitely the one that works better for our operation.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments? Sheldon?
Be interested to know how long that initial membrane lasted. How many months?
Huh?
Is it in there?
It was 3 years.
3 to 5 years.
It says that, yeah, but that says it, the replacement, but how long did the original one last? That's what I'm asking.
3 years. 3 years is what Jamie had said.
Pardon me?
3 years is what that one lasted, is what Jamie said.
Is it in there?
I don't know if it's in here. I just remember him saying it at a
We have the
one of the reports that he did. Yeah.
Must have been at your meeting, cause I haven't heard it then.
And it's actually $20,000 under budget, so that was nice news to get.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby agrees to consider discretionary use application number 24-29 for metal recycling on lot 2, block 2, plan number 64 PA 12547, and that administration be authorized to follow the standard public consultation requirements as contained in zoning bylaw 763/2000. Councilor Safer.
Thank you. So this is for a discretionary use application for metal recycling. So the applicant is wanting to start a business where metal could be brought in by residents, or where he could bring in metal from other sites that he runs in the Northeast, and have essentially like a compactor on site where the metal would get compacted, and then he would ship it out to a smelter or steel mills in, I think he said Winnipeg or somewhere else. But yeah, so what he's looking for is approval from council to consider it. So if approval is given to consider it, I would send out advertisements to properties within 75 meters, and also do a letter in the newspaper, and then do a full technical report of everything for next council meeting. He is aware that likely as a requirement that the site would have to be fenced. He did have in his proposal that fencing would happen within 2 years, but likely next year. And then in the application, he also showed where phase 1 of where he'd be operating would be, and then phase 2, potentially the whole site and the building that already exists on site.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have any questions or comments on this? Sheldon?
Is there anywhere else this could be, or this is his chosen spot?
This is his chosen spot. Yeah.
I like the idea of having the metal recycling here. I've been collecting it in my office, recycling vacuums for years. And it's hard to get rid of some of that metal easily. So, could be interesting. Any other questions or comments? Sheila?
Well, I guess I'm concerned about what it would look like without a fence around it initially.
My guess would be like a scrap pile.
So,
If you've been out to the landfill when there's the scrap metal pile, I'm guessing it would kind of look similar to that. And then there'd be cubes of metal sitting there until he has enough to transport them out.
Council could approve it conditionally that the fence be built sooner.
I think so. Generally, there's a 2-year time frame. I could look that up and see as part of my technical report.
How about Sheldon?
Well, I spoke already once, Jeff.
You can see where the sightlines from the highway might be a concern here. Is there any other options that we might have for him other than this? Because it could be quite ugly.
I did show him other lands that we have. He likes that this is closer to the south end of town, being further out of town, because he said he didn't want to be right in town, because then it's more of an eyesore, he thought. So he thought being on the outskirts would be better. And then he also likes that it's closer to the landfill, like on the way out to the landfill, so people could come when they're going to the landfill and drop stuff off as well. But I did show him the other sites that we had that were zoned industrial, but they're all closer into town.
Stacey?
So the industrial area that we have in behind Indian Lake Safety, that was shown to them.
I didn't show him that. Well, I told him about it, I did mention it, but I said I also don't know if we're ready to develop that in a sense, because we don't have, like, the roads going out to it aren't really roads, they would need to be upgraded, and then we don't have any roads on site, nothing subdivided, so I wasn't too sure where we were in that process really, and if we did start, it wouldn't be ready for when I guess he's wanting to start.
The other thing with that is he has very pressing timelines. When we met with him, he was under the impression that this should take a week, and when we explained to him 4 to 6 weeks was the thing. So I think that he's kind of, that's where leaning to outside of this spot that he had picked doesn't fit within his investment or investors' timelines. I guess it's kind of what he had told us.
Well, I understand his choice, because he's got a road right there, just right
metal and everything else, but this is potential for another, like a landfill, so environmental impacts and everything else, I think need to be done. The proximity to River and everything else that's there. And it's not gonna be a slow process either.
I can mention in my technical report to get some more information on him about that, or from him about that. He did say that there are requirements that if he were to accept vehicles or certain types of things, that he would have to have like specialty mats that are covering the ground, and he was already aware of those types of things. So, I think he said he's been doing this for about 15 years, so he said he was fairly caught up with all of the requirements that he would have to do. But it would be good for him to provide us what those are and what he's going to do, just so then we're aware.
Jeff?
We're only approving the first step on this ladder, right? Because then we have to do the whole discretionary use process, so.
Right.
This wouldn't be an outright approval for it, right?
No.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
Well, again, I personally like the idea of recycling, I'm just not sold on the location.
With us looking at expanding, potential retail and commercial and stuff out there, to drive out and see a steel recycling.
That would be like phase 3 or 4, wouldn't that be down there? For sewer.
Oh yeah, that would be quite a number of years away. One of the reasons I did like the site in the sense is that just to the west of it is earmarked as an industrial area. So to me in the future that would be more industrial in there. I do get though that this site is closer to the highway, whereas the other one's further off. I guess the only other thing I could mention about screening is there are a lot of trees that are facing the highway at that site, and so it would be in behind all those trees. And we could put as a requirement that those trees have to be kept there as part of the screening.
Absolutely.
Trees are good.
Obviously.
Okay. Any other last minute questions or comments, thoughts? Yeah, like Jeff said, this is just approving step 1, so. Alright, all those in favor? That's carried. Okay, 9.2.4. That council hereby approves proceeding with an interior renovation project to the Enterprise Center in the amount of $20,000, with funds to come from GL account 411-125-820-GG rental capital expense. Councilor Sutherland. And Derek.
So the $20,000 was earmarked in budget to do a exterior renovation, which wouldn't complete it. It would have just been a cosmetic improvements on the outside, not completion. And then with SHA, we was approached to see if they would be interested in moving the cardiac rehab program from the Evergreen into the Enterprise Center next door, based on they have to move their equipment twice a year. It takes away from events. Chelsea would be able to speak to it probably better than me with it. And with if we were to invest the $20,000 into the Enterprise Center, we could ultimately gain revenue and usage from the exact same amount as we get at the Evergreen, utilize that space and free up the pro shop and everything on the other side to go. This $20,000 is just to, I guess I'm here not seeking approval to move the cardiac rehab program right now, just to start looking at contractors and have the money available if we were to renovate. I'm still waiting on contracts from Sask Health, which they assured me they would have to me before this started, but they're not here yet. So there would be no carrying on until we get some guaranteed approval from SaskHealth.
Thank you, Derek. Do we have some questions or comments? Sheldon?
So we don't know if it's gonna cost $40,000, we don't know if it's gonna cost $10,000, like there's no plan here of what the renovations are, right? It's just, and the $20,000 is already allotted to that building.
It won't be over $20,000 to.
Pardon me?
It won't be over $20,000 to
Do you have quotes or?
to
do you-
put a wall. No, I don't yet. This is happened on last Tuesday, so I do have a call out for people. They were supposed this week, hopefully. And if we were to do it internally, you could do it for the cost of materials. Because all the walls in there are currently not attached to anything. They're just on the floor, up. Like they're separated from the roof. They're below the drop ceiling. So it'd be a similar type build as that.
Would they be the only people in there then?
No, currently NEOS is in there in the other half, so it would be adding an additional renter into the enterprise center.
Any other questions or comments? Sheldon?
I'm not against renovating it or anything, I would just like a cost or a plan to see, but I guess if that's not available,
Well, I do have a plan. I can go.
Yeah.
I think I can go get it. I don't know.
Derek and I had made a floor plan sketch of what the renovation could look like, and there's not too many walls that are getting taken down or moved, and they are interior walls, so they're all pretty straightforward to move.
don't need asbestos as abatement or anything like that.
No.
Most of the interior ones that are being removed are, were done in 20,
Yeah.
when they did a renovation to add some office space. So right now, most of the office space or most of the floor area in that building isn't being utilized. It's kind of a waste of space right now.
So it's just a matter of doing some interior wall changes and stuff.
A couple doors and an addition to I think like a 18-foot extension to a wall to the roof would be the initial. That's our initial plan on what we drew up.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Okay. The council hereby approves the tourism marketing plan and allow the Community Services Department to apply for the Marketing and Events Partnership Program, MEPP, from Tourism Saskatchewan, and that the administration review the tourism marketing plan twice a year and prepare a report for council identifying potential changes and emerging trends that could affect deliverables. Councilor Stewart. Derek.
So I guess I had the whole report written up, and Michelle pointed out to me today that I didn't have anything about what the MEP is. So it's an event marketing and partnership program that allows you to apply for a grant up to $20,000 regarding digital marketing within the community. It's at no cost. If you're approved, you get what they give you. It's at no cost to the town to do it. You have to have a plan in place, and you have to implement it towards the plan that you have in place. So within the plan that was created, there's the digital marketing strategy would be in there, would be something you could use, or in collaboration with other tourism-based businesses in the community, you could provide consulting or website contacts to be able to allow them with the $15,000 to pay for the businesses to be able to utilize outside marketing through Tourism Saskatchewan. And, oh, sorry, and I guess bringing him back, if everybody hasn't noticed, I don't like throwing plans away, so the reason that it's behind it is if it comes back every 6 months and I'm accountable to write a report for it, then at least I know that it's being followed.
Any questions or comments? Anytime we can get something in place to get more money for free is good. So, all right, all those in favor? That council hereby approves creation of a casual student employee position within the Community Services Department for the purpose of content creation, video editing, and social media promotion for tourism marketing. Councilor Vic. And, we'll go back to Gary.
So this would be just kind of to build off of the momentum that was built in the summer with the students, because it goes away to, you can't attend events on the weekends, or you know what I mean, people are out of town and everything else. So it would just be offering a student an opportunity to make some money, attend events, provide footage, some media content. It would be 20 to 30 hours a month tops, which the prices are, it would be about $2,000 for the rest of this year. So it's not a huge budget issue or anything like that. And just, yeah.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments on this? Sheila?
Would it be an application process, or would it be somebody that's already been here and familiar with?
We would do an application, kind of our plan internally has been we would do an application process and hire a student, the grade 11, grade 12 student, and then implement them into the summer position as it goes, is kind of what we're leaning to.
I agree, taking advantage of that momentum we had this summer would be great. It was fantastic to see everything. Any other questions or comments for Derek? Sheldon?
I like the ideal of it, and I guess it's casual, and you can see if it requires or it could lead into something else, but I know some months are pretty slow around here.
And that is kind of the purpose for the casual with the 20 to 30 hours. There's nothing guaranteed in it. So if there was, like, December could be outside of, you know what I mean, maybe the Christmas tree lighting, and there's very little going on tourism wise. So we would limit hours to events and promotions that with things that are going on in town.
Hopefully there'll be a few snowmobile events this year. Sheila?
I just wanted to mention that when I was reading the Nipawin sectional by Nature Tourism Marketing Plan, there are some spelling errors.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We'll go through it a little more. It was kind of fast tracked through to get everything on today. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor? That reports of committees and boards reported as item 11.1 be received and filed. Councilor Seiferle. Everybody had a chance to review. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? That's carried. That communications recorded as item 12.1 be received and filed. Councilor Vic. Did everybody get a chance to read that? The fantastic letter that came in there. So props to everybody at the pool and all the hard work you guys did. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, moving on to 14.2. Oh, council hereby declares the month of October 2024 as Feed a Kid Month in Nipawin as requested.
I already put my hand up for this one.
Okay.
I haven't missed this one yet.
As requested by Nipawin Nutrition for Kids. Councillor Stewart. All those in favor?
Oh, I gotta leave again. Cause the wife also is the chair of the housing authority board.
That council hereby agrees to renominate Thea Stewart, Cheryl Johns, and Jean Lidster to the Board of Directors for the Nipawin Housing Authority. Councillor Vic. Okay, I don't think, is there any discussion on this one? Alright, all those in favor? That is carried.
Over here again. Added to my steps today, I guess.
That council hereby proclaims October 2nd, 2024 as Wrongful Conviction Day in the town of Nipawin as requested by the International Wrongful Conviction Day Committee. Councillor Seifelin. Do you have any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? That council hereby approves the amended organizational structure as presented. Councillor Chernowka. Michelle, do you have a little bit to add here?
Sure, I can speak to that. We just changed the structure a little bit from the previous one to make it a little easier to read to start with. And this one adds the new custodial laborer position under the Senior Corporate Services. In the utility department, under the GM of Operations and Engineering, changed those titles to skilled and semi-skilled laborers. That's in accordance with our collective bargaining agreement rather than operators. And under the program coordinator position in the leisure services department, we added skilled and semi-skilled laborers. That position is the curling ice technician, maintenance person. That's under the program coordinator supervision. And those were the only changes that we made.
Jeff?
Land plan?
Land planners and, oh, sorry, we moved that one, I'm sorry, missed that one. We moved the land planning department from
okay.
being a department on its own to being within the community services department. Community services and land planning go hand in hand. And the original intent when the restructuring happened a few years ago was that those two departments would be together anyway. And when the previous CAO was here, it was moved out of that department. So we felt it was better suited to be within the community services department. Development and land planning go hand in hand.
Sheldon?
Just curious, I know a few years back, job descriptions were not up to date or not nullified or there was none. Where are we with those?
We have up to date job descriptions now. Yes.
Good to hear.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. Well, now the fun stuff. That bylaw number 1184/24, being a bylaw to regulate sign usage within the town of Nipawin, be introduced and read a first time. Councillor Chernowka.
Yep, so we had created a new sign bylaw that is largely based off of what Humboldt had. They had separated all the sign items out of the zoning bylaw and created a own standalone sign bylaw. And so that was the template that we used for a lot of this, and then tweaked it to fit in with Nipawin and capture everything that we already had through policies and our zoning bylaw. And so at the last standing committee, I had some questions for the committee that are highlighted in the report here, and we've gone through it. And I had changed the things that council or that committee had wanted in the bylaw, so those were added in, and I just made notes in the report saying what I changed to what. I don't know if we want to go through it that in depth here, or what you'd like to discuss.
Council, do we have questions, comments? Do you want to go a little more in depth? Okay. All those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1184/24 be read a second time. Councilor Vic? Your opportunity. Any questions? Any comments? All those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1184/24 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Councilor Seiferman? Any other questions or comments on this? Okay. All those in favor? It's carried. Okay. That bylaw number 1184/24 being a bylaw to regulate sign usage within the town of Nipawin be read a third time and finally adopted. Councilor Trudeau. Last chance. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1186/24 being a bylaw to amend traffic bylaw number 1135/24 be introduced and read for the first time. Councilor Stewart. And Jeff.
Thanks. So this is a kind of a redo of the sign bylaw that we had passed couple council meetings ago. It's the same bylaw as before, except the change is that instead of taking away 4 parking spaces, it is taking away 2 parking spaces on the northwest side of First Avenue and 3rd Street West intersection. It was felt that trying to meet the business owner in the middle while still keeping sightlines or improving sightlines compared to what they are. So it was reduced from 4 spaces to 2 spaces. We'll give that a trial and see how, see if we get any complaints. I mean, it's going to be better than what it is, but I guess I'll likely go and sit there and watch traffic for a little while is what will happen, and see how traffic does.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have any questions or comments? Jeff?
One question just might have helped my memory. This issue on this avenue and street here, was that recognized in our traffic study when we did it? Did they look at this intersection?
No, we didn't look at we didn't look at this particular intersection at that time.
Okay, so
That business isn't that bad, is it?
2018, maybe.
I think it was an auto detailing shop at the
Yeah.
time of the traffic study.
I think
so
it was
it's
different.
I
Could have
think
been a
it's
different
type of
business.
business, I think, a bit, when they
Yeah,
did the
well-
traffic study.
up north of that area.
Any other questions or comments? those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1186/24 be read a second time. Councilor Cyclerman. Second opportunity, questions, comments, thoughts? All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1186/24 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Councilor Vic. Have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1186/24 being a bylaw to amend traffic bylaw number 1135/24 be read a third time and finally adopted. Last chance, questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. Okay, so we'll move on to the round table, and why don't we start, Jeff?
Too busy, I think we had that couple of photo ops for the community night, of course, we did that, and then we had the Twin Lakes meeting, which I chaired, which took a record 30 minutes to get through, right, so I'm pretty proud of that, there wasn't a lot discussed, because a lot of people were on track there, as for Twin Lakes, the updates, we kind of still falling a bit short of our goal, so fundraising is still ongoing, and it'll continue to be ongoing. We've had lots of battles to get that built, I can't stress that enough. Lid wall, there was a water pipe underneath that needed to be capped, and additional expenses that needed to happen, it's just unfortunately that is now ballooned into pretty close to $1 million project. So that is a lot of money for what is there. But the thing is, pretty soon by the end of this month, supposed to be having our personnel from BC, what is it, ground effects? They'll be here, and they'll be doing the first site assessment. Once we get through them, then they bring out Transport Canada, and then we can hopefully get this thing stamped, put a big H on it. I'd like to see an H on it. Do we get to put an H on it? I sure hope so. And yeah, the light poles are up and they look good. $30,000 worth of good, but still good. Yeah, very expensive in places. I think $10,000 a pole was needed, but that's how much it cost, I guess. For a day's worth of work, $30,000. Anyways, that's my rant on that.
Thank you, Jeff.
I attended the meeting as well, and I was at the public meeting. It's great to see some people out, and that's all I have to report in the time frame since last meeting. I do have to say as well, I've had the opportunity to meet people from Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, and Florida that have all been here recently, and they are shocked at how beautiful our community is. They don't see what others see. There was 5 people from Texas that I talked to today, and they said they drove around the whole community, and they can believe how nice our community is, how clean it is, and so I just want to pass that on, because lots of times we tend to stick to the negative and not positive, and I've had people from all of those different states that I've spoke to, so I just wanted to pass that on in this room.
That's nice to hear. Thank you, Sheila. Sheldon.
I attended the open house. Seemed like it wasn't too well attended. I think their timing and the way technology has developed, we have to do something different next year. Step up our game, maybe a free job or something. I
snacks there.
I was gonna say fireworks is gonna come up, I know it's gonna come up.
More M&Ms.
I brought bouncy castles.
But there was lots of candy.
Fireworks.
It's so much.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
I wasn't able to attend the open house and we haven't had a regional prep meeting yet.
Yeah, I also attended the Community Connections meeting. Yeah, it's tough to get people out to those, so I don't know how. But also on September 18th, I did have an opportunity to meet our new staff sergeant. We had just some discussions around, we did talk about minimum staffing requirements on what a small city would look like in terms of staffing. We discussed their current use of the alternative measures program. And they also, we talked about the potential for maybe a public parks bylaw, where you don't have admittance to a public park between certain hours, typically would be utilized in a few other municipalities, and they've had a bit of success. And I know in some of our parks, we're seeing our little library boxes getting smashed up. It won't necessarily make it go away, but just something for the future to consider. And that's all I was doing the last couple of weeks. So, at this time, we'll go down to the public forum. It's the first time we've had a few people in public chairs in a little while, so welcome. Is there any questions regarding our agenda today?
I just mainly was here to hear the result of the, moving the, pulmonary and cardiac rehab over to the main building. I'm quite pleased to hear that it is gonna happen. For myself, with breathing difficulties, it's a very valuable program, I think, because we've helped over 11,000 people in the,
Not quite
1100.
1100 if you.
Lot of people. Anyway, I find for myself, if I didn't have that program to go to twice a month, so I can walk on the treadmill and use the bike to actually get some exercise, I think my lungs would deteriorate a lot faster than what they are. And I think it'll be a lot easier than, well, for one thing, for Jeff to try and move all that equipment and possibly damage equipment, possibly damages himself. I think it'll be a lot nicer to have our own permanent place, and it's gonna be a lot shorter walk. If you have to go, even if you can park in the handicap parking, it's still quite a walk when it's -20 or -30 to get to that door, and then you still have another 30 or 40 yards to go to get to the pro shop. And I know I'm just totally out of breath by the time I get there, so I think this will be a lot nicer for winter. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else in the gallery? Right, well, thank you guys all for coming and taking some time out of your evening to attend. So, that the regular council meeting of September 23rd, 2024 be closed with Mayor Zacharias in the chair pursuant to section 120(2)(a) of the Municipalities Act, and citing exemptions contained in the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act under section 17, Economic and Other Interests, and section 122(b) of the Municipalities Act concerns long-range or strategic planning at 8:10 p.m.